Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. This is our weekly workshop with Tech Hub South Florida. And we have a special guest today, Himanshu with Ironhack, and he will be teaching us a little bit more about Intro to Data Analytics, which will be a new course, I believe, starting in June at Ironhack. But Angelique can tell us a little bit more about that once we get there. Awesome. All right. So for those of you guys who don't know Tech Hub, we are a nonprofit that's membership driven, that's building South Florida into a tech hub. So we really focus on supporting our tech community in different ways, whether it's, education like this one, or even just networking or community building. And recently we have supported startups as well. So we do follow this community creed, and we really try to be as inclusive and welcoming as possible. So if you guys want to get involved with our community, you're always welcome. We do not sell to people. We really try to partner and work together. Check out techhubsouthflorida.org to learn more. Yeah, so again, this is kind of our mission. So to build South Florida into a tech hub, our purpose is to foster creativity, technology, and innovation in South Florida. So if you guys want to get involved, again, do not hesitate on reaching out. And we also have about 200 and plus corporate members, and that doesn't even count the individual members that we do have in our community. And we have members from all over South Florida. It includes Miami, Broward, Palm Beach, even Martin County. And we do have some folks outside of South Florida who are looking to move here to get to know how to get involved and contribute to our mission here. So yeah, this is an example of some of our current corporate members that we have in Tech Hub South Florida. So we work with coding schools. We work with big companies like Office Depot, FPL, City Furniture, and we try to support them with whatever their needs are. And at the end of the day, it'll bridge our community as a whole, as a region as well. So this is a little bit more about our membership. We do give a lot of speaking opportunities to our members, and that includes speaking at events like this one. We also have a member profile on our website where we showcase what you do, what value you bring, and maybe even some of the languages you use in your organization alone. We do member spotlights, guest blogs, and just PR support all throughout South Florida with our partners and even us ourselves. And we have different peer groups. So these groups are awesome. You get to meet people that are in your industry, like-minded tech leaders or software leaders or women's group, founders, CEOs. So we try to do a little bit of everything to cater our diverse members, really. And then we also offer a lot of benefits and discounts. And to learn more, again, check out techhubsouthflorida.org or send me a message, and I'd love to hear from you and see how we can get you involved. And these are our weekly events. So we do Tech Talks every Monday, but this was just announced about 2 weeks ago. We're actually going to start doing Tech Talks in person starting in May. So our first one will be May 10th, and I'll drop a link in the chat. It's going to be at Boca Code in Boca Raton. And then following that in 2 weeks, we'll have it at the Lab Miami. So we're going from Miami, Boca, West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, just so all you guys can be there when you have a moment. And we also have community coffees where they're more like panel discussions where we bring in thought leaders on different topics to share their insight, for you guys to ask questions, Q&A, and just connect through the chat and make sure you're networking as well. And we host podcasts. So these are for the innovative, awesome people that's building South Florida's tech community. So for example, we've had Mayor Suarez on there. We've had the founder of Shipmunk on there. We've had Emerge America on there. So if you guys know anybody who would be interested in participating or who deserves to be highlighted, please reach out for that. And then we also do our lunch and learn. So this is what we do every Friday at 12 p.m. And luckily we have Ironhack here joining us. All right, so I'm almost done with this presentation. And this is a resume distributor that might be helpful for a lot of people on this call, especially Ironhack. When students or people hiring submit their resume, that it actually gets distributed to all of our members, and those are just a few at the bottom that receive it. So we have a career board on our website for you guys to check out, and we also have a job board for members to post jobs. Okay. And yeah, so this is our last slide. If you're not on our Slack channel, I highly recommend joining. It'll be techupsouthflorida.org/Slack. And we have different groups, whether it's, news updates or general updates or just networking. Please feel free to be on there and contribute to our conversation. All right, so thank you again for being here. I am going to pass the mic to Angeliki, who's going to talk a little bit more about Ironhack, and then Himanshu can get started with the presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Monica. That was a great presentation. How's everyone doing today? Happy Friday. All right, so like Monica said, my name is Angeliki Key, and I am the program manager at Ironhack. Himanshu, do you want to share your screen with the presentation, or do you want me to share mine?
I can share mine, yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Just one second. Okay.
So yeah, you all are in for a treat today. We have, our amazing instructor, our lead data analytics instructor, who will be giving you on intro to data analytics. But before we get there, I am going to introduce who we are. So Himanshu, can you go to the next one? Okay, yeah. So for everyone who doesn't know, what Ironhack is and our company, we are a tech boot camp here in South Florida. And we're preparing the next generation of digital creators. So we offer courses in web development, UX, UI design, and now we are launching our data analytics course. So we see a lot of career changers come through here, which is really awesome because we see people change their lives every single day by breaking into tech. If you go into the next slide, and just so you all can get an idea, our only US campus is in Miami. However, we do also offer a remote US campus in addition to 9 other campuses worldwide. So you see Amsterdam, Mexico, Lisbon, Sao Paulo, Madrid, Paris, we're, all over. And we have, over 120 employees, over 8,000 alumni in our network. And we also offer job placement support and just, a professional network of, like I said, over 8,000 alumni. So we're pretty big. And we're excited to be launching our data analytics course as well. So Himanshu is I'll pass it over to him, but yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Angel. So yeah, hi guys, and thank you for joining in. So just a little bit about myself. Yeah, my name is Himanshu Aggarwal. I started working for Ironhack in 2019, and I've been with them for almost 2 years now. So I did my master's in industrial engineering from Arizona State University, and after I graduated, I joined Ironhack. So I have experience of over like 6 years working on data analysis, and then my favorite languages, I mean, like the languages that I work on mostly are like Python, SQL, Scala, and then I mean, like Hindi is just my native tongue. So I am originally from India. I grew up in India. I studied. I mean, I did my bachelor's there, and then after. I mean, for my master's, I moved to the US, and then yeah, I've been here for almost like 5 years now. So this was just a little bit about myself, and like Monica and like Angel said, today we will just have this quick discussion about how important data can be in our lives. I mean, professionally, for the business, and then what are the different things we can do. Like what are different technologies that are there in the market right now. What are the kind of like data that we work on. So we'll talk a bit about the business side, and then we will also talk a bit about the technical aspects of like let's say data analysis, data science. How are these things different? So we'll try to learn or like understand a few things. And also, guys, if you have any questions anywhere, please feel free to like stop me and then ask me question there. So we will have a Q&A at the end, but in case while we go through some things, like you have a question that's coming up in your mind, so I mean feel free to jump in. Okay. And you guys can hear me well, right? You guys can hear me all right?
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect.
Yes, perfect.
we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So why do we need data? I mean, data is getting a big thing now. I mean, everybody's talking about big data. So, I mean, I might sound like a broken record, but I mean, it's like the information is money. So, data provides us the information, and then information helps us take those decisions that are like very that could turn your business upside down. So, instead of making some decisions based on intuitions, it's always better that like if you have some information, if you have some data, I mean, uh, if we can make those data driven decisions, so that's always going to be more helpful. And a lot of companies are going towards using more and more data. So we'll take a look at a few reasons why this is happening, but this is coming from World Economic Forum survey that happened a couple of years ago, and then they identified some of the trends that are happening across the world. So this is just a simple bar chart that shows us the percentage of companies versus technology domain. So basically, what this graph tells us is that in their sample space, I mean, when they conducted the survey, 85% of the companies said that they are likely to adopt these technologies by 2020. Sorry, by 2022. So, and this is only going to get bigger and bigger from here. So if you think about like big data analytics, so these are like kind of the buzzwords right now, like big data analytics, IoT, Internet of Things, machine learning, cloud computing, um, virtual reality, distributed ledger. So this is like Bitcoin, I mean like the blockchain. So all these technologies are like coming up like really fast, like in the technology domain now. So, and these are all driven by data. I mean, if you talk about like IoT is just like interconnected devices, right? I mean, all the things are interconnected with each other. They're like sharing information, they're sharing data, and all that data is being collected by different companies, right, to get insights on the customers, for example. So as we can see, like data is going to get, I mean, it's huge right now, and then the importance of data is only going to get uh, more and more, like as we will go down the line, like in the following years. So there was another stat that this World Economic Forum, I mean the report from WEF, it said that 96% of the companies were definitely planning or likely to plan to hire new permanent staff with relevant skills to future the big data analytics. So even if we do not consider the big data space, I mean, just the space for data analytics, I mean, just the market, or like the opportunities for data analysts, data science, data engineers, database admins. I mean, all different kinds of jobs that come around, like data, it's going to be huge. So definitely if somebody's planning to, you know, learn some technical skills, so they're going for a lot of these things which are, like Python, R, Scala, SQL, AWS, cloud computing technologies. So, like these things are like these technologies are getting like more and more important as we go on in our careers. So reasons for increase in demand of data analysts. So there's more information, more data. I mean, these reasons are like pretty clear to us, right? I mean, there is increase in the number of interconnected devices. Everything is on, I mean, all the information is stored in cloud. We just have to sign in through Gmail or Facebook or whatever, and then, like, all the devices can get synced. So which leads to a lot of data being generated by different applications, by any activity that you make on the internet, for example, right? And there is ease of access to data. So now there is technology that can store yottabytes. I mean, like, probably like a couple of decades ago, or like a decade ago, we used to talk about gigabytes and petabytes, right? And now, just because of the infrastructure that we have, um, there is such huge amounts of data that is being generated. We're not even talking about gigabytes. So now, I mean, like, earlier when somebody used to speak about big data, they would speak it in terms of like gigabytes. Now when somebody is talking about big data, now they're talking about like 10 to the power 6 times of a gigabytes, like petabytes, yottabytes, stuff like that, zettabytes. So this is the infrastructure to store data, and then the way you can access data. So there's different types of infrastructure in which you can store data. So one is structured, one is unstructured. So if we like deep dive into like data analysis and like the infrastructure, I mean, we will learn about what is a structured data. For example, the kind of data that we usually work with, for example, Excel sheets, so tabular data like databases, so that's all structured data. But right now, I mean, there is such amounts of data being generated which is like unstructured. So like data lakes is a very big buzzword like right now. So it's just basically like a dump of data, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is that it's very easy to get that data, and it's very easy to store the data. We have that infrastructure right now, so that's why it is so there's such an increase in demand for data analysts. So somebody who can like work on that data to provide some meaningful insights, right? So customer needs and marketing, so these are just a couple of applications of data analysis. I mean, there could be, so data analysis is not just specific to these domains, but this is one of the biggest applications of data analysis. You're trying to understand the customer needs. The customer can be internal, the customer can be external, for marketing, for production, for improving your processes. I mean, data, wherever you can get the data, like for whatever thing, you can use that data to improve your processes, right? And then data driven decision making. So like I said before, instead of making decisions based on intuitions or the past experiences, now we want to uh, top those decisions, or like we want to enhance those decisions by adding some more data driven insights there. So we have our intuitions, I mean, we have the business knowledge and everything, but we want to see if that business and our intuition is correct or not based on the data that we have. So data driven decision making can help us, or it does help us in making lot better decisions in our businesses. So anybody has any questions so far before we jump on to the next slide? Okay, so yeah, this is again coming from a survey that happened like a couple of years ago. So what that survey was asking was, what are the key skills that the employers think that are important for data analysts? So all these things, MS Excel, data analysis is just like a very generalized view, a very generalized opinion. So if we ignore that, if we just take a look at some core skills, they are like MS Excel, there are SQL, Python, R, and Tableau, and MS PowerPoint. So these are, so the key theme that we have right now is the the technologies that are required in the company to work on uh, for data analysis. So right now MS Excel is huge because of the data which is stored in spreadsheets. So spreadsheets or Google spreadsheets, like now it's on the cloud as well. But gradually the use of MS Excel is going to get like lesser a bit, and then people will rely more on like languages such as Python, R, and like other tools which are more which are more efficient, and then which can handle more data in a much better way than MS Excel. But MS Excel in the industry is still huge, and in the following years it's going to be a very key skill as well, right? So this is these are some of the skills that, so in the previous slide we took a look at some technical skills, at the same time uh, some soft skills which are like really really essential for data analysts are you should have a sharp business acumen. For example, you should be able to understand the business. Without understanding the business very well, you won't be able to understand which information could be used how. So creating a detailed business analysis, outlining problems, opportunities. So a typical workflow for a data analysis process starts with defining the problem. So once you identify the problem, then you build on top of it to get the relevant data that will help you answer that problem. So all those things, like it's more of the philosophical side of it. I mean, there's one technical side where you should know how to work on the tool, but at the same time you should also be aware of the business side, or the philosophical aspect of like data analysis, right? So planning and monitoring, reporting, uh, using different tools, so defining the business requirements. So you should have a good business knowledge to in order to maximize the gains from the analysis, right? So there's different kinds of analysis that you can do. So when we talk about analysis, it's not only making some plots, or it's not only making some predictions, like machine learning is a big buzzword right now. So there's different kinds of things, are there different applications or different types of data analysis that you can do. So one is like descriptive. So you're just trying to summarize the data, you're just trying to get uh, then you're just trying to find the nature of the data that you have. For example, summarizing the existing data using some descriptive statistics. So this goes a bit more into the statistic side of things, right? So you're just trying to understand how your data is behaving. So for example, you're trying to understand some key trends in the um, in the customer behavior, for example, right? So there is another kind which is like diagnostic. So you're trying to understand, okay, if this happened, so you're trying to conduct some deep dive analysis here. You're trying to understand like what is the reason, or what is the root cause of a certain thing. So the first thing was you identified certain trend, and then you deep dive on that trend to find, okay, what could be the plausible reasons for such a thing to happen. So that is like a diagnostics, I mean, just like a medical diagnostics that we do, right? So one of them is like predictive analysis. So predictive analysis is like you're trying to make some forecasts, right? So one of the common examples is like forecasting like stock prices, forecasting the prices of a commodity, right? Things like that. And then there is one which is prescriptive. So prescriptive is analyzing and recommending the best action. So prescriptive um, is more about analyzing and reporting at the same time. So you're analyzing some data, and then using that analysis you're able to prescribe what could be the future steps given based on the data that you have. So other than this, there is also another kind of analysis which is like recommendations. So for example, that comes up as a part of like machine learning actually. For example, if you talk about these systems like Netflix or YouTube. So if you start watching a video, your YouTube channel or like your Netflix starts, like recommending you stuff. So that's another kind of analysis, but that's more on the machine learning side of things. So does anybody have any questions up until here?
Yeah, Melissa had a question in the chat. Would Power BI be a structured data?
I'm sorry, I was not looking at the chat. Would Power BI be structured data? So Power BI is technically a business intelligence tool, right? So these are two different things. So BI is actually a tool that uses data. So the kind of data that Power BI uses, that is structured. I mean, I would just change the words. Um, so there's tools like Tableau, there's Power BI, there's Metabase, there's a bunch of different tools that are used for visualizations, or like, let's say, business intelligence, right? So they use data. I wouldn't call them, so they are like two different things. Does it make sense?
Melissa, feel free to take yourself off mute if you're available too, or you could just drop it in the chat. Okay, awesome. Do you see Ian's question as well?
Yeah. So the question is, uh, so is data analysis a part of business intelligence? So I would say, data analysis, think about data analysis as like the big cloud. So inside that cloud, there's a portion of business intelligence, there is a portion of machine learning, there is a portion of AI. So I mean, analysis is, let's say, you can call it like the bigger cloud. I mean, so business intelligence would be a part of data analysis, not the other way around. And right now, the way these terms are used, they can be like they are used very interchangeably, but you know, data analysis is just, I mean, in that word, you can mean literally so many different things. But just to give you an idea, I mean, business intelligence typically is using the business intelligence tools. For example, like we said, Power BI, there is Tableau, there's Metabase, there's Informatica. I mean, there's different tools, right? So these tools, if you look at the applications of these tools, or like what these tools are used for, they are used to create dashboards, for example. They're used to create visually appealing plots, right? So that is business intelligence. I mean, like to get some insights from your data using graphs, plots, figures, like some analysis like that, right? Or it could be done on simple Excel sheets as well, right? So business intelligence is a part of data analysis. um, does anybody have any other questions? Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh,
So
actually, Ian asked if Google Trends is part of BI.
let me see. Oh, where's the chat? I think I lost the chat. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
If Google Trends is part of BI.
Google Trends. Google Trends, I mean, when you use Google Trends, it uses, I mean, it shows some trends, right? It's conducting some analysis in the background. So I mean, those analysis, those analysis, whatever it shows you, right, you can call that as business intelligence. So business intelligence is actually a very yeah, it can be used in like multiple ways. The idea is you're driving insights from the data. You're getting some business knowledge from the data. So it could be done through different tools. So I would say, when you use Google Trends, I mean, it's more or less like a tool that conducts, or like that shows you some analysis. Oh, no, no, no. I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, this is really good. I mean, let's try to make it more conversational. I mean, I think that's a lot better. And then your questions are definitely going to help everybody else. So please don't say sorry for like for the questions. Okay, so I mean, these are some. So if you, yeah, if there's if there's no more questions, we can just move ahead, right? Or okay, cool. So there's different. I mean, these are just some examples of the different scenarios in which you can use data analysis. Uh, so, but technically, wherever there is data, be it, so it's agnostic of the industry, right? Because wherever there is some data available, you can always conduct some analysis to get some insights out of it, right? So I'll just quickly go over this one. Um, so architecture. So this is basically one of the ways in which the whole cycle of data analysis would work. So there could be like tens of different ways in which uh, this architecture could be set up based on your needs, based on the needs of the company. But I think what I would want you to understand is just the basic philosophy or the common philosophy. Or the basic process is basically you have a business question, right? You extract relevant information to answer that business question. Then you work on the processing part, you clean the data, you do a lot of things. Because just imagine like if you throw in some bad data, you'll get some bad results. So it's like garbage in, garbage out. And after you clean the data, process your data, you conduct the analysis, then you present the results. So this is like the basic workflow. So to get that data, like I said, I mean, to extract relevant data, there is, I mean, it has to be extracted from some source, right? So somebody has to manage that architecture. So basically, oops, my bad. So if you just think about this thing in the center, data warehouse. So think about data warehouse just like a warehouse or a storage space where you dump in a lot of your information. So that data warehouse gets information from somewhere. So basically after you clean the data a bit, like after you do some cleaning, then you put the data into a data warehouse for analysis purposes, and then you can connect your tool, for example Tableau or Power BI, to that database, right? So to conduct some analysis. So this is what I meant when I said, like Power BI, for example, it's a tool that uses data, that uses structured data. So that data is actually coming from a database or a data warehouse, right? So when you have Power BI, either you can pull data from Excel sheets, CSVs, it can read a bunch of different files, right? Or you can also connect that data, that tool to a database, to a server somewhere that that can pull the data. So if you take a look at the bottom here, data gathering, step 0. So you see a bunch of different sources here, and these are only in, I mean, this list is only an indicative list. There could be like multiple other sources as well. So there's streaming data, API log files, and a bunch of other data. I mean, wherever it is coming from, you pull that data together, right? You clean the data, and then for analysis, you put that data into a separate space which you are calling as a data warehouse, and then you can connect this data warehouse to a different tools or like whatever you want, right? So a common word to get such data is ETL, or extract, transformation, and load. So extract is this part, data gathering, right? Extraction, I mean, you extract the data, you pull the data from the different sources, you put it to cleaning, you transform the data basically. Transform is, just think about transform as synonymous to cleaning. So you're cleaning the data, you're transforming the data in the way in which you need that data to be in, right? And after you transform that data, you load that data into a data warehouse so that the team of data analysts can uh, work on this data the way they want. So the steps, step 0, step 1, and then step 2, these tasks are usually taken up by data engineers, right? Step 4 and step 5, like visualize using the BI tool, reporting or conducting some analysis, these are the tasks that data um, analysts do. And if we want to do some high level machine learning, or like predictive analysis or things like that, so that's the part of like data scientists. Okay. Does anybody have any question in this architecture? So I hope this would just give you a very broad, or like a very some idea about, like, if we are using some tool, how is it, like getting the information, or like where is it getting the information from, or like what is the workflow like. Mhm. So the reason why we want data analysts is to turn data into insight. So after we collect all this data, I mean, it's only information. So unless though that information is some actionable information, I mean something that we can like use to take some business action or to take some decisions, that information is of no use technically, right? So that is the job of data analyst, to convert that stored data into some actionable thing, so based on which you can take some business decisions, right? So there's different tools that are available, and then technology industry is like very is it's moving very fast. um so like we had a slide in which we showed some core skills for data analysts, right? So they were like MS Excel, SQL, Python, Tableau, so these kind of things. So these all are the different tools that are being used by data analysts. So some people have this question about machine learning versus R. So there's these two languages which are like used mostly right now for analysis. So some people, I mean, the basic question is, should you start learning Python first, or should you start learning R first? So, I mean, both languages are really very very powerful. The only thing is R is more designed, or is more developed for like statistical analysis, while with Python you can do a bunch of things. So Python can be used for data analysis, machine learning, for website development, for software development, like it can be used for like literally anything. So that's one of the advantages that I think Python has over R, in case you have that question. There is something in the chat. Okay, so machine learning is, like the word is, machine learning. You're trying to make the machine learn based on certain data, right? So think about machine learning model as a black box. Think about it as a box. You send some data in that box, and that box has a lot of components, a lot of gears, like things to work on that data, and then spit out some results. So those results can be some predictions, can be some recommendations. So basically machine learning is just a bunch of code, some algorithm that takes your data, right, and then learns from that data to show you some results, to give you some results. So machine learning can be supervised, unsupervised. So there's like more details that go into machine learning, but the key idea is you're trying to make the machine learn given the data, so that if you throw some new data to that box, it will be able to give you some more interesting results. Mm, mm, mm. So, Melissa, do you have any specific question in machine learning, or because I think I gave you a very high level overview. Oh, okay, cool. But if you do have any questions, please ask. Uh, so this is just another slide to show you. We talked about like structured data. So there was one question about structured data. I mean, does Power BI uses structured data? So there's two kinds of data that we have. So one is structured and one is unstructured. So the ones which are structured, we also call them relational. So these are the kind of information that you have over, let's say, flat files or CSVs, Excels, all the information stored in these different databases, for example, Postgres, SQL Server, like all these. This is all structured data because this data is organized in tables with specific rows and columns, right? But for storing big data, uh, research scientists, like researchers also developed another way in which you can store data, in which you do not need to store information in rows, like in structured format, like in a table. That helps them to save like larger amounts of information in lesser space, because when the amounts of data like to be stored was getting like way bigger than like gigabytes, and then this petabyte, they had to like develop ways in which you can store more information that takes lesser space. So that's why these non-relational or these unstructured databases were developed. So for example, MongoDB is like one of the more common ones, which uses just like a dictionary. I mean, it's like a collection. Um, there's Parquet file, which I used a lot because I mean, like all of them are used. So ORC. Uh, so these are the different kinds of data that is being used in the industry right now. But I think what I would want you to take away is that, I mean, how is this structured data different than like unstructured data? For example, if you have taken a look at a JSON file, for example, so JSON file has some keys and values, uh, and then there is no specific format. I mean, it's not tabular, right? So JSON is a form of, like, let's say, a simpler form of unstructured data. Mhm. um with data analysis, another thing that is very important is storytelling, or like presenting your analysis. So you have to know your audience, and then storytelling is like really important, because you want to connect to the audience in such a way that you are presenting your results that the audience can understand. Like, it's very easy to lose concentration, like if you're not able to make that connect with the audience. So even if you're telling them something like really important, I mean, they might miss out on some key elements. So it's very important to get the attention of the speaker, of the audience, uh, and that's why, like, storytelling, I mean, it helps the audience to absorb all the content in a much better way as well. So it's just a structured approach for communicating data insights tailored to a specific audience, and then combination of three key elements, which are data, visuals, and a narrative. So storytelling is like really important, and then uh, push your project till it creates change. So these are, so like we said, whenever we talk about data analysis, so there is like a technical side, and then there is the philosophical side. So it's not just about like writing a brilliant piece of code, or like conducting some really nice analysis on Excel or like Tableau or Power BI, but you should also be able to present your results or communicate those results, right? Otherwise, those results won't have the same impact as they should. So, um, so the philosophical side of this data analysis is also super important. So this is just a basic idea of like the workflow, like I said. business challenge, like identify the data, I'm sorry, like identify the question that you're trying to solve, right? So first you do that, and then you data collection. So it's basically based on that business problem, business challenge, you extract the relevant information. The next step is processing that data, and this processing can be cleaning the data, making the data in the right format that your model can take, or that your tool can take, or like whatever it is. And then after that, insight extraction. So that's when you extract business insights, or like actionable insights, right? And then all these things can be done through different tools, like we said. That again, I'll just go back on the technical side. So all these processes, they take the technical as well as the philosophical side of data analysis. Mm, 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 mm. So yeah, focus on the ETL from databases, KPIs, dashboards, BI. So this is just like a quick distinction between, like data analysts and data scientists. So I would not consider this ETL. ETL is more or less for data engineers. But if you talk about databases to KPIs and to dashboards, that's definitely BI. But focus on ETL. So ETL part is more for data engineers. So I mean, just a quick correction here. So just think about this: focus on ETL part for the data engineers, and then databases to KPIs and dashboards, that's BI. That's correct. And next, a bit of both worlds. I mean, like data analysts can be involved with, let's say, using Excel, using Tableau, using Power BI, using Python. So they do a lot of, I mean, they can be involved in like a lot of different things. But data scientists, they focus on statistical modeling, forecasting, and then, like the high level coding, or like the high level machine learning, right? Okay. So I think, so yeah, so I think there's that. And at the end, I actually wanted to just like showcase, like the power of these programming languages or these tools. So, but before that, if you guys have any questions, please let me know for anything that you spoke about, any tools, anything that you have, any questions around.
Yes, so yeah, feel free to drop the questions in the chat, or you can just go ahead and take yourself off of mute. I did have a question. I was wondering if there's any languages required or recommended that you should learn before maybe taking a course or diving into intro to data analytics as well.
If you think, if you're talking about the course that we do, I mean, we kind of build from scratch. I mean, like the way we have designed the curriculum is we have a pre-work. So it's inclusive of all. I mean, it's not like somebody who does not have like a, a knowledge of, let's say, Python or SQL, they won't be able to do it. I mean, we've had like so many students who started from nothing, and then, like at the end they were able to like create some machine learning projects at the end. So it's not a prerequisite, but I mean, because we have something which is called, like, before they start the program, there is something called like a pre-work, which is a 20-hour or 30-hour, study material that we give the students, and some questions the students to work on. So that helps them, like get the basic or the fundamentals before they get into the boot camp. But yeah, that is not a prerequisite for sure.
Okay, awesome.
And yeah, guys, any other questions, please feel free to, ask.
Good afternoon, Himanshu. This is Ian. I have a question. So, in order to train, like my employee to understand data analysis, um, what is a good beginner course? Do I start with them with Python, or do I start them with Tableau? Any advice? Thank you.
Okay, so Tableau is very graphic user. I mean, it's a GUI. It's basically you click. So like if you want to start, I mean, I'm not sure if you have worked with Excel. I mean, but that's also, I mean, a simpler form of analysis. I mean, Excel is like very powerful in itself. So, but if you are asking me the question about like Tableau versus Python, I mean, I'd say Tableau won't take like honestly, Tableau won't take a lot of time. So you'll just, in fact, if you just watch a couple of videos, let's say an hour of videos, I mean, for Tableau, it's a very simple interface to use. Like literally very easy. You just like click and drag and drop. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we use Excel for most of our spreadsheet and data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yeah, Tableau, it's like really, it's very easy, and then it's very powerful. I mean, like the advanced Tableau stuff is also like really powerful.
I
Got
was
it.
gonna
Thank you.
say, I was gonna say too, Ian, we do offer like a part-time course. So if your employee's interested, they can, check it out on our website as well. And be sure, to connect with Himanshu on LinkedIn.
Definitely. Thank you, Angelique.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
And to add to that, I mean, like to my answer, I mean, but definitely I would recommend that if you want to get into data analysis, start spending, like some time on Python for sure. Because I mean, if you're looking at long term, I mean, like if you want to like improve your skills, if you want to work on a lot of different things, definitely like Python would be way to go. But if you want to just start with something, start with Tableau, something simpler, and then if you want to like do more, so I mean that's gonna like uh, help you in a career. I mean, like if you're an analyst, so Python is a good tool to have in your arsenal for sure.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it looks like no one else has any questions for today.
Mhm.
Just want to remind the group that we are recording this. We will send it out for you to share with your friends, your family, or even just your colleagues, and for you guys to rewatch. And then I'll include Himanshu's information as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
So if
For
you guys,
sure.
yeah.
And I just want to say I put Ironhack's link in the chat as well. If anyone is interested in applying for our data program, please apply and let us know. And again, that means you get to spend more time with Himanshu. So thank you, Himanshu. Your presentation was great today. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, like don't hesitate at all to connect and reach out to us.
All right. Well, Himanshu, thank you so much. You
You're
want to
welcome.
just kind of just close out the room for us, and then we'll exit out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Thank you so much, Monica, for organizing this, and then thank you everyone for joining in. Yeah, really, it was a really nice
Great.
experience. Yeah, working with you.
Awesome. We'll have you guys back for another course workshop introduction. So
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, by the way, we're also planning to have intro to Python, intro to machine learning, and intro to Tableau, like early next month. So if you guys are interested, please feel free to reach out to Angel, so that you can join that meeting as well. All right.
awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Monica,
everybody.
again.
Have a
Yeah.
great weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
See you guys.